Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Not sure exactly what time zone you're in because, of course, this is being recorded for YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce myself. My name, of course, is IvD's Nightshade. I am one of their casting staff, and, of course, I'm very happy to provide you with, well, hopefully you guys will enjoy this, at least another quality replay. So, certainly, of course, I've been around the block a couple of times, and I have a tendency of being able to find the occasional little gem. Here we go. But, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, let me introduce to you our players. And, of course, up in the top right-hand corner, from Team IV Gaming, of course, IvD Gaming. Check us out, ivdgaming.com. But, ladies and gentlemen, as our blue Protoss, it is Ranchinator. And much like bacon, ranch is pretty darn good. It's like the best dressing for everything, so hopefully ranch will stick up to his name. Going to throw down a pylon outside here of his natural here. I expect we could see a forge fairly soon out of that as well. And then down in the bottom left-hand corner, I don't have much information on this particular player. Besides the fact he's got pretty much the coolest name ever. It is SeaKangaroo. From Team BLZ. Let me see if I can just dig up some info really quickly for you guys here. And at least tell you a little bit more about them. SeaKangaroo. And, of course, here we go. SeaKangaroo from Team BlazIt. And, of course, Masters League player. I believe that was on the European server as well, actually. No, I stand corrected. It is just a Masters League player here. So it is going to be Masters League action here for you guys and girls. You're going to enjoy this indeed. Love watching Masters League StarCraft, especially with the way the ladders are right now. Masters really means Masters. And what we do see, of course, is a Nexus going down. Actually, is that first? It is. Nexus first play out of Ranch. So really greedy play, of course, out of him. But he is going to be doing everything in the world with this probe to deny any natural from going down. That's okay, though, because SeaKangaroo has taken his third very quickly indeed. He's going to have to wait for a couple of lings to pop on out here. 6 are in production, but they are going to head their way across the map. This is going to get scouted here by SeaKangaroo. He's going to see that it has indeed been a Nexus first play. That is why he's actually opting to go with such a large amount of aggression here with these 8 lings. And that's exactly why he's doing it. You know, he's like, oh my gosh, okay, well, if he's going to be really behind on his build and in those defenses, I might actually stand a chance to be able to do a lot of harass here. And, of course, we do see Cannon first play out of SeaKangaroo, trying to keep everything together all in all. So that is the way to do it. And this way, this allows him to be able to throw down a 3-hex structure here. He's going to save up a little bit more economy, be able to throw down a cybernetics core. Now, if he needs to, he can just throw another gate down really quickly. And he's got a lot of trouble here because those lings are now finally into the base here. 6 lings is not a huge problem, but this is going to be a bit of an issue here as Ranch is going to have his hands full with 6 lings in the mineral lines. He does certainly have enough workers, but he's going to have to do a little bit of micro action to try and keep things together. Of course, he's going to throw down another pylon and get to work as well. The cannon is finally up and running, so at least one line of defense outside the natural there. But up in the main is where the action is, ladies and gentlemen, as Ranch is going to have his hands full, and as you can see, he's mineral drilling here to try and keep everything alive. If you're wondering what it's called, is you take all your drones or your probes, your workers, whatever, you drill one particular mineral field, you double click it a lot, and then when a unit gets close enough that you can attack, you just A-click. And then what they'll do is they'll all attack the same unit at the exact same time, and they can do a lot of damage very quickly. But also the lings have a very hard time surrounding units. So and that's how you're able to deal with it a little bit. However, a couple of lings are going to get, the lings are going to get a couple of probe kills, and it looks like Ranchinator again is going to have to deal with this a little bit better. And you can use this with any structure. You can do it with assimilators, you can do it with mineral fields. Of course, it's always best to grab a mineral field like this one here, where you can actually get a little bit of blocking done on either side. And again, as you can see, SeaKangaroo trying to inflict as much damage as he can, but Ranch with really good unit control here, but he's not missing a beat with his micros. You can see workers are still getting produced absolutely everywhere. A Zealot is on the way, and SeaKangaroo is actually going to throw down some insulting words, seeing as he's not able to get the success that he's looking for. This Zealot is going to be in a little bit of trouble if he gets surrounded. Of course, he is going to kill off 1 or 2 lings here and there. A little bit of nice micro to get him beside. And he's going to kill off a good number of them, actually. Even trade looks like here with that Zealot. And again, as you can see, he's trying to do everything he can to try to minimize any losses to these lings. And SeaKangaroo's micro is now being terribly tasked. Of course, As it sits right now, Ranch is actually doing a pretty good job. Why? Well, because if you take a look, he's still cranking out units. His vision is right here on top of this. As you can see, the building is selected. He's also microing. But this is very easy for him to do because he can actually watch the building, do this, micro here, do a little bit of micro, macro a little bit. He just has to zip around. But his camera angle, like for example, if you're looking here, he just goes over, does a little bit of work, comes back on over, does some additional micro work, he's great to go. SeaKangaroo, on the other hand, has actually have to, hotkey his items, flash on over, do the work, come back, macro a little bit. Now, I've got to say, he's been doing a really good job macroing, but this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. This is where it's going to be tasking him. And we see the APMs, both players just flying along, but you can see how SeaKangaroo has been a little bit hotter. Now I find this thing starting to calm down a little bit, but he's got great overlord placement. I'll give him that. And of course, he's got good worker saturation throughout. Of course, just starting to now take his gases. Roach Warren going down as well. And of course, double gases being taken up and in the main. Now, there is a mothership core coming on out here. Been substantially delayed because of the fact that these gases were getting attacked here by those lings. So he had to take a little bit of time to get those gases up. But now that all those lings are gone, he can actually kind of dedicate to his build and actually influence where he's going to be going in the late game. A couple of gates are going down. Now, he could have thrown these down earlier, but with lings running around rampant like that on the map, that means that they'll just run over and start attacking them, and then you're just kind of giving them away free buildings. Of course, we see Twilight Council going down, and that is going to be somewhat back a little bit, but it is going to get scouted here, as you can see. So the jig is up, so to speak. Of course, a Stalker is going to cut a couple of kills. It's not to say, though, that you're not sacrificing the units, and this Overlord, I think, is going to die as well. We'll see in just a moment where this is going to go, and yeah, one Stalker is holding up the other Stalker. If they both can actually start working away, this one Overlord is going to die. Indeed, it does. That is actually going to be a pretty good trade. I mean, he gets some good scouting information, but he loses 200 minerals in the process. But SeaKangaroo probably feeling pretty good about that. As Zerg players, we all know what that's like when you're able to get good scouting information. It makes you feel so much better about the situation. A lot of units getting worked in here as well. Of course, I think this might be... No, it is going to be a high Templar play. We do have Templar Archives finishing on up after the Twilight Council. Blink is not being researched. We do have a robotics facility. And of course, where is the darn thing? All the way over here. Getting warped on in as well, so... It's a 2-base Protoss play. Now, this is one of those maps where it's a good map in a lot of ways. Protoss is going to have no problem really holding it because what they do is they just wall off this choke here, open up this rocks, and then build another base and a SimCity here. So a third base is very easily defendable for Protoss players. Of course, it has to be done methodically. You can't just take it and then kind of defend it. It takes a little bit of work. A lot of units getting in here as well. High Templar, love High Templar. Storm is going to get researched, so we can expect to see some stormy skies fairly soon. And chrono boosting that, actually, wanting to get that out as quickly as he can. As you can see, third base is something also that Ranchinator wants to get on top of. SeaKangaroo, on the other hand, let's take a look at his base and what's going on down here. Again, double gases having been taken. Nice saturation here in the main. If we do take a look at the natural as well, same situation, really well saturated. Roach Warren as well as one Evo chamber, not two, so not double pumping those ups. Lots of roaches here, though, something we should also point out. And then also down here in the third, very interesting location for the Hydralisk Den, but it is up and running. Grooved Spines being the upgrade of choice, followed by the Muscular Augments. And then, of course, Spar Crawlers and a Macro Hatch to go down as well. Should note that actually during this period of time that these roaches are standing around, they could, of course, take down these rocks. That will afford them the ability to be able to easily transition back and forth between the natural and the third, as opposed to running out that little bit further and having to come around the long way. So, good map design on this particular map. I always enjoy playing on it. It's a great game, a great map, Yonsu. Of course, blink play is a huge play that you can do on this map because of these large ridges on the backside as well. There's that jump bridge ledge here for the Reapers. Interesting fact, apparently you can throw a siege tank on here, provide some high ground vision, and then they can kind of shell in on anything that's up here. So, interesting little tidbit of info for you guys. Of course, like I was saying, there's that third base, using that Zealot as the temporary wall off. Again, there's another choke going on here by these warp gates. This is smart. In case you lose the third, you can very easily defend it with the force field. Buys you a little bit of time. Of course, photon cannons here are very well placed to provide a lot of coverage. So, But it looks like it's going to be a bit of an engagement here as the Roaches and the Lings and even some Hydras here are going to push on up towards Ranchinator's base. Ranchinator a little bit of trouble here. Double Storms going down on the backside of these forces, and they're going to do a good bit of damage here. And indeed, additional ones also going down here as well, as the Templar are going to finish off using all of their energy. Roaches are going to burrow to get that easily heal, as well as to dodge a little bit of that storm action. Of course, it doesn't really dodge anything, but while they're underground, their regeneration rate is very much enhanced. And of course, an observer here is going to provide a level of detection for these Roaches. And as you can see, these Roaches, as this little graph down here at the bottom of the screen, is going to go green awfully quickly. And in fact, this one on the top ground, this was not burrowed. As you can see, 27 health only. The rest of them are green in the matter of like about 10 seconds. So Roaches burrowed so good, and keeping them alive, really good play here by SeaKangaroo. But there is even more High Templar available. Storm's not quite yet. They have to wait a little bit for the charge to get up. They need 75 energy. They only have 60. So we're waiting for about 15 seconds more before those High Templar are going to be at full strength. And he's got to be very careful here. Zealots don't want to engage because they're almost getting one-shotted here by these units. And of course, High Templar, 4 more seconds, 2 more seconds, 1 more second. Storm is now available, ladies and gentlemen. And Ranchinator is not using them just quite yet. Okay, one does go down, softening it up a couple of them. Additional storms going down as well, trying to do as much damage to these Roaches as possible. However, SeaKangaroo is going to burrow all of those Roaches, trying to keep them alive as long as possible. However, that's not going to help a darn thing, because the Zealots are going to show on up. And with detection in the sky and that photon overcharge going down from that mothership core, it is going to be a certain demise for these Roaches as the Zealots are catching them. Now, the Roaches do have a burrow speed, burrowed movement, but not quite as fast as when they are unburrowed. And they are going to get out of here, but not without incurring massive losses. They are going to go, however, for that natural, try to see if they can snipe themselves some upgrades. There is none in production in this forge, so it is going to go down, but nothing gained, nothing lost, except for the structure itself. And again, a couple of these units are going to get caught here by this large force of Zealots. It's almost the Zealot dance party, but there is a lot of High Templar here also supporting. Additional ones warped in. Archons have been switched over from the previous High Templars from that earlier engagement, and they're going to continue to work away as the Zealots are going to tank the damage up front. This Archon just go to town behind. Of course, it is ultimately going to fall, and however, more additional units are going to engage here, and Ranchinator is trying to push this back with SeaKangaroo desperately trying to shut everything down. I should point out, though, that Ranchinator has been able to maintain almost all of his economy. He's only lost a handful of workers, just 4 in total, to SeaKangaroo's aggression here, and this has been temporarily held. As we see, of course, SeaKangaroo is going to retreat with his Roaches and take a couple of moments. Now, while that's happening, I'm going to catch my breath for a freaking second here, because these Immortals here, of course, are going to be a big game-changing unit against these Roaches down the way. And with the support of these High Templar, this is going to be a pretty good force. Of course, Archon's pretty good unit. We do have the Zealots with 2-2 upgrades already finished. But if we take a look at SeaKangaroo's forces here, it's 2-1 upgrades right now. So, and of course, he's going to burrow those units, get them healed up very, very quickly, and then he'll unburrow them in just a moment. Of course, Hydralisks have shown up. Hydralisk, pretty good unit, especially against Protoss. Check out actually a replay if you get a moment. I just did with IvD's Fog versus Seeds. Oh God, what is it? It's Atrium, I believe it is. Estrella, I'm sorry. Seeds Estrella. And in fact, actually, it was the same kind of unit composition, Roach Hydra versus a Protoss, with substantially superior upgrades. So this is actually a pretty good unit composition. But Ranchinator has Storms, and that's actually the big thing that Estrella did not have in his particular game, is that he did not have Storms. He didn't have any DPS units. He just had a lot of Immortals and a lot of Stalkers, Blink Stalkers. But this force here is actually very dangerous. You've got a lot of Zealots, and I mean a lot of freaking Zealots. They are going to get spotted here by that Ling that was on the watchtower. The Immortals also really good against those Bioforces, those Roaches specifically, because they're armored units. And of course, Immortals with 2-2 do a ton of damage, do 60 per shot. Archons get a bonus against Bio, and of course, all of these units are Bio. Storms going down as well. all of these units having to dance through at least one particular point in time. But as you can see, on creep, they're very quick, so they can actually get out of those storms. But Hydralisks only have 80 hit points of damage, and storms, if memory serves me right, do 80 hit points of damage in 4 seconds. So as you can see, they die pretty fast if they get hit with too many of them. And this is where it's going to get a bit sketchy. Yeah, 80 hit points of damage in 4 seconds. Like, you sit a Hydralisk in it, it will die. And of course, storms ignore armor, so this is going to be very scary. A big engagement here, as again, the Zealots are up front and personal, getting a lot of shots off. Absorbing a couple of storms are the Hydralisk and the Roaches here. And again, another storm going down, again, just dancing in and out. A couple of these Zealots incurring some damage here. As you can see, they're very low on health. Archons are going to be behind here as well. Oh, it would have been good, and he's actually going to be able to use the Rock Pillar to be able to continue with his engagement. And unfortunately, these Roach Hydras are going to have to take the long way around, and there's nothing they can do, as the Zealots are going to wreak absolute havoc here onto the hatch. It is going to fall to the charge lot action here of Ranchinator, and he is going to use the recall ability, and nothing spells disappointment more than that. That has got to be so frustrating for SeaKangaroo. He wants to engage those forces. He wants to gain retribution for the fact that he killed off the hatch. But as you can see, all the forces here recalling back to the Nexus, an ability the Mothership Core can afford our Protoss player. And he's just going to be feeling so good about that he's able to get a good snipe. But to say the least, SeaKangaroo is on yet another base on the right-hand side. He's reestablishing that 4th base on the left-hand side. He's on 5 bases. And Ranchinator is on 3 right now. He's going to expand on out to his 4th up here, but he's going to have a little bit of a hard time doing that, considering that there is this Overlord pooping out creep. That will get taken care of. As you can see, the forces are going to have to march their way on over. There's not a whole lot of forces here to shoot in the sky, though, I don't think. In fact, actually, I'm kind of leaning towards that there's nothing that shoots in the sky here. He's going to have to warp in a couple of something to be able to shoot that Observer. What's he got? Okay, a couple of Stalkers will take care of that, rather. The Overlord I meant, not the Observer. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. A lot of High Templar here, though. There's there's 8, 9, 11 of them in total. That's 11 storms ready to go, if not more than that, depending on how much energy they've got. And you can see Roach Hydra off creep, not so fast here, but he's got to be careful with these High Templar. They're left completely unprotected here as Ranchinator throws down a storm, kind of a defensive storm there, to try and get it. But you can see the High Templar caught out, and a couple of them are going to die very quickly. A couple more storms do go down, and Zealots are going to push this back as Ranchinator's got to be very careful with these High Templar. Again, a couple more storms going down, killing off a handful of units here, but softening up the rest. And again, pushing on forward. Going to have to take care of the rock pile that he killed off himself. And looks like he wants to go back up and try to kill off that 4th. I'm not sure if he's aware of that 5th base on the right-hand side. No, he is not, as we can see by Ranchinator's vision. But Ranchinator, I mean, he could just take these Colossus, just march them on over and just park them right here and then kill off this Spore Crawler and then basically do whatever he wants to this mineral line. Yeah, and there's that long range, big freaking thermal lances, or as I like to call them, big freaking laser beams. Pretty good unit. Again, storms going down, softening up a lot of units, going to eat a good number of them. Storms going down on top of the Broodlords and additional units. All of it is going to melt as they are getting literally chased on out of here. More storms going down, as you can see, almost using all of them. Is there even any High Templar left? It looks like no, they're all completely dead. However, so are all the Roach and Hydras. And all the Zealots are going to escape on out of here. Well, all you can see the damage done. There is not a worker left to tell the tale here. And again, Stalkers are going to show up here. This is the good choice to transition to, especially this particular point in the game, and especially after they have 3-3-1 upgrades. That's right, 3 weapons, 3 armor, and 1 in shields. One of those ones that always gets done last. However, a lot of Roaches have been spawned off these 4 bases of SeaKangaroo as he's going to push on forward, and the Colossus is going to fall. The Zealots are going to try to buffer these Immortals as the Mortals are going to just pound in the punishment here. However, unfortunately, Broodlord's pretty good unit, especially, well, pretty much against anything on the ground, and all those Broodlings are going to nibble their little way away, and those Immortals are going to have to run for their lives as the Roaches are going to chase them down. You almost maybe want to just stop and shoot. And we'll see. No, one of them is going to fall as the remaining units are trying to flee and head on over here. This, of course, is a Roach Burrowed and an Overlord as well. So This cannon's going to fall. The roaches are just going to town, but as you can see, SeaKangaroo looking pretty good, but there are zealots working away here in the third base location of SeaKangaroo, and trying to get as many worker kills as they can. As you can see, it's 20 in total here for Ranchinator, but Ranchinator's trying to get his own base up and running. He's going to have to evacuate it with his workers, as the Broodlords have shown on up to kill it off, and this has got to be painful to watch. And the roaches, reinforcements of SeaKangaroo, are going to arrive here as well. They're again being very cautious. They don't want to kind of get caught here at the top of this ramp or anything like that and maybe get pinned down out. But this Nexus is going to fall. There's not much Ranchinator can do about it. He's got a lot of storms. He's got a couple of zealots in here. Not as many as before. Obviously, he's just gone about 8 or so. A lot more stalkers this time around. It's a good transition on over because he's going to need those stalkers to help deal with the Broodlords. But he's got good upgrades. And we do take a look, of course, 331 upgrades. Pretty good against unmodified Broodlords. No upgrades on their Broodlords. Where are those roaches? There they are. Roaches with 2-3 upgrades. So right now, Ranchinator with a fairly sizable upgrade advantage, but he is going to siege up in front of the third base here. And this is getting a little bit dangerous because it looks like it's going to be a base trade situation. It looks like Ranchinator says enough is enough. We need to start impacting your ability to produce units. And this large ball of Archons, as well as Stalkers, High Templar, and in fact actually Colossus as well, are going to shut down the Roach War, and that's the big one, ladies and gentlemen, because he's not going to be able to crank out any more of those. And of course, Roaches have been recalled all the way back to help deal with this. One Colossus is going to fall. There's, of course, lots of storms to go down, and all these Roaches are going to eat all of that first storm. And it was really good engagement there, especially what he's looking for. Again, more storms are available. And again, more storms going down, always dropping them just slightly behind, so that if they do march on out, there's a little bit more of a duration that they have to incur. And these roaches are falling so quickly here. And you can see actually probes are actually going to come all the way down here and pulling the probes from everywhere. Maybe trying to just support it, so he's always got a probe with his forces here as he's trying to do this base trade. And Ranchinator is trading very effectively here. Army supply is in his favor, 86 to 77, as he continues to work away into this main. This is where it's going to get very dangerous here for SeaKangaroo. If he loses all these unit-producing structures, such as the Infestation Pit, such as that Greater Spire, which has ultimately fallen, poor guy. And now the Hive is going to go down. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Ranchinator feeling really good about that, as the blood and guts just go spewing absolutely everywhere. Man, that is disgusting. But as you can see, the Immortals are going to fall out of the sky too. Man, this is just a vile amount of devastation here by Ranchinator as he just completely destroys everything. But this has forced a complete recall of all the units here, and there's the rest of it. Speaking of recall your units, I'll recall mine. And we do see, of course, everything being recalled over here to the fourth base, the current mining base here. And Ranchinator exploiting the great function of the Mothership Core, that recall ability. It takes 100 energy. As you can see down at the bottom of the screen, mass recall, 100 energy. It takes everything that's within range of that Mothership Core. And this is a great choice. By using that, allowed him to be able to move on out, do a lot of damage, like a lot of production level damage, recall back, and still be in fine form. And in fact, actually, a bunch of units unable to escape because of a pylon wall that has been established at the top of this ramp here. But the forces here are going to show on up here. There's a lot of Stalkers as well. They're going to blink on forward, start working away on to these Broodlords. And Roaches are going to eat a lot of storms. And SeaKangaroo, ladies and gentlemen, was defeated but did not GG. That's okay. IvD Gaming's got you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, SeaKangaroo defeated by IvD's Ranchinator. Check us out, ivdgaming.com.